Raptor at Cedar Point is the B&M inverted coaster that opened up in 1994 and is an absolutely amazing ride. Raptor is one of 6 B&M inverts that I've ridden, and honestly, this is definitely up there as one of my favorites. This B&M invert has many classic features that many of B&M's older roller coasters feature, such as some insane positive G-forces, crazy whippy inversions, and Raptor really has all of that in it. Great positives, great whip, and has some really good pacing. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing Raptor, in my opinion, one of the best B&M inverts ever built, and currently is my second favorite. So yeah, let's begin. Like many of Cedar Point's roller coasters, Raptor has some pretty good stats. Now, these stats may not be as impressive as ones they once were when the ride opened back up in 1994, but the ride has a height of 137 feet, being on the taller side, basically a mid-size inverted coaster. Like Montu and Alpengeist are pretty taller than this. It actually has a speed of 57 miles per hour, which is also pretty average for B&M invert with a track length of 3,790 feet, being actually on the longer side for B&M inverts, and has a total of 6 inversions. These inversions include a vertical loop, a 0G roll, cobra roll, and 2 different corkscrews. And overall, the ride has a really good layout. The ride was packed into this tight midway. Like, Cedar Point didn't really have much room when they built the coaster. This is pretty much an out and back inverted roller coaster, which you don't really see many of these style inverts. Most inverts are compact, tight, or have a pretty spread out layout in a very large space, like Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa Bay or Alpengeist at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting layout for B&M invert. Also, you can tell that it isn't a normal layout, especially in the one part in the second half after the first corkscrew. This is like lull of straight track to just go right over to midway before hitting the second corkscrew, which is a bit weird. So you can definitely tell that it definitely doesn't have a traditional layout, even though it has many of the typical inversions of an invert. Now, Raptor's operations are really good, especially when the ride is running 3 trains. They usually have the train ready to go and dispatch by the time the one train hits the mid-course brake run. The line for this ride will move really fast, even if it's like a pretty big size queue. I always found that the line moved really fast in my visit to Cedar Point. When you dispatch to the station, you'll take a quick little dip out of the station. Many inverted coasters have this, like Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa Bay, and then you climb up your lift hill. This lift hill is very cool. You get a really nice view of Lake Erie and Gatekeeper out in front of you from that front car, and then you dive down this first drop. This first drop is a twisted style first drop, but it straightens out a lot faster than most B&M inverts. In fact, you get some weightlessness if you're in the back row when you're twisting out of that first drop. And then you go into your first inversion, a typical vertical loop, very forceful for a B&M invert. They're all really forceful and honest. And then you go into a 0G roll. 0G roll, like many of the older B&M inverts, is very whippy and snappy. Some of their newer inverts don't have the snap, but they have the awesome weightlessness. But this one's just fast-paced snap, kind of like Montu's and like the Batman clone 0G rolls. Then you can go into your cobra roll. This cobra roll is very snappy and forceful. You do have to watch out for some headbanging on the transition in and out because it is quite a hard snap. And then you're going to go into his upwards turn into like this upwards helix into your mid-course brake run. After you glide through that mid-course brake run, you're going to take a right-hand turn out of it into this down drop into another corkscrew. You're first of 2 corkscrews on the ride. Very fast-paced and snappy corkscrews. These B&M inverts are well known for that great snap on them. Then you're going to hit this weird straight section, this weird straightaway over that midway area that I was talking about earlier. And then you're going to dive down to your second and final inversion on the ride, the corkscrew. Yeah, another corkscrew. And they're going to go into this downwards double helix, which is really intense. This is probably the most intense part of the ride. This pulls some serious G-forces, and I love it. They're going to hit another quick turn into the brake run. One thing to know about this brake run is it is a very hard snap into it. Like, you will get headbanging if you're not in the position to prepare yourself for a quick snap. And that concludes your ride on Raptor, Cedar Point's B&M inverted roller coaster. Now, how would I rate Raptor compared to the other 6 B&M inverts I've ridden? I would have to say this isn't my favorite invert, but it is my second favorite. The only invert that I like personally better is Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa Bay. But this invert has many characteristics I absolutely love in inverts. Great transitions, snappy, very intense, and a very well-paced layout. Everything that Montu has. The only reason why I like Montu quite a bit better is because of the theming and the color scheme, and overall I think it pulls forces better and it sustains the forces a lot longer than Raptor. Raptor has like quick pops of intensity. The only sustained intense part of the ride is that double helix at the end of the ride, and that's freaking intense. But overall, if I had to give Raptor a final score, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. This B&M invert does almost everything well except for the bit of headbanging on the Cobra roll and that violent transition into that final brake run. But overall, I think Raptor is almost a perfect B&M inverted roller coaster. Maybe some theming like Montu would have thrown in, it would have made it a 10 out of 10. But overall, even a 9.5 is absolutely amazing. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's coaster review. Tell me what you guys think of it. What do you guys think of Raptor? Do you guys like Raptor as much as me? Is it your favorite invert? Leave all the thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye everyone.